Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do something that I've never done on my channel before, and that is a bookshelf tour. I've actually really been wanting to upgrade my shelves recently, specifically this one. I want to switch this out with another set of the Billy shelves from IKEA, which is what I have over here, but I want to get like the wider one because I have like two skinny ones. And it's not really like a question of if I can afford it or not, it's just that I don't really need to. Like there isn't really a need for it because this has been working out fine. I've had this shelf for like 7 years and like there's a lot of great things about it, so I just don't really need to. It's just like one of those things where it's like an impulse purchase where I just like don't really need to make that purchase. I just figured like another reason why I wanted to do this video is that if I do end up changing my shelves, then I would have this video to document like how my shelves looked before and just have like a fun memory of how my shelves were. But yeah, also I've just never done one before, so I really want to do that. I'm going to take you through all of my shelves. I have 7 shelves in my apartment that have books on them, so I'll show you all of them. I'll tell you where I got them from. I'll give you all the details. I won't go through like every single book that I own, but I will talk about some of those. Just a couple other statistics before we get into the bookshelf tour is that I own 312 books, and that does include like the copies, like the multiple copies that I have of the same book, and you'll see which books I have multiples of as we go through this. I forget exactly what the number was, but it was in the 60s. 60 of the books are read and the rest of them are unread. So that's like 79% of the books that I own are unread, which is so disappointing. It's so overwhelming, and it's just kind of embarrassing. This is a problem that I've had for like the entire time that I've liked to read, is that I just always have way more books that I need to read than I do books that I have read. I did enter this year with a lot of motivation to read all of the books that I own, or like most of them, and just like really tackle my physical TBR. But at this point I've only read like 11 books, which is a little disappointing. I wanted to be a little farther along, and Goodreads said I'm still on track to finish and complete my goal by the end of the year, but again, I just thought I would be farther along. And the books that I have read so far this year, I did unhaul them, and so that didn't really help my percentage of books unread because I read them and then immediately unhauled them. But yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say before I get into it, so let's get into the bookshelf tour. Okay, so first up I'm going to be showing you my bookshelves from IKEA. These are the Billy bookshelves, most basic but also very iconic bookshelves. So this is the first shelf on my Billy bookshelves. This is my Twilight shelf. This shelf is my pride and joy. I love Twilight. I don't love it as much as a lot of other people do, but I do really love Twilight. I have the white editions, and I thought they were really, really pretty when I first saw them and when I first got them, but now I realize that they kind of look a little cheesy because the cover is literally just like, I don't know if I'll be able to show you. The cover is literally just a sticker. Like this is a sticker that they put on almost. That's what it feels like. It's like shimmery and it has a reflection. So it's kind of cheesy, and I don't like that it doesn't say Twilight on the actual cover, just on the spine here. But I was still really excited to have these. I really cherish them. My mom went through a lot of trouble to get them for me. But yeah, I have the full set, and I have this little mini mass market paperback that I love so much. And I have Midnight Sun that I've never read yet, even though I bought it immediately. I haven't read Breaking Dawn either. I'm scared. I have an extra copy of New Moon up here because last year I read an annotated Twilight and gave it to one of my friends because she also loves Twilight, but she's never read it before, so I thought it would be like a fun reading experience for her, and I was going to do that with New Moon as well, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And then I also have this little lip scrub that's called Bella's Lullaby. I've only used it a couple times, but it's mint chocolate chip flavored. It is really good, but I just, haven't really used it because when it's up here, I just kind of forget that it's there. And then this is a really precious gift. I was supposed to go see Twilight in concert with my best friend that I annotated Twilight for. I was gonna travel like 200 miles to visit her because she lives in North Carolina, and then we were gonna go see the concert together. I'm trying to show this to you good, but I just can't do it. Oh, there we go. Anyway, she got this for me from the concert since I wasn't able to go, and I just love it. So it just lives right here. Next to it, we have my little pink shelf, even though not all of these books are pink. I wanted to have like a cute romance shelf with mostly Emily Henry. I'm not like a die-hard Emily Henry fan because I've only read 2 of her books. But my sister helped put this together, and that was a really special moment because like she doesn't really care about reading or care about books, but she was really excited to put this together with me. But we have all of my Emily Henry books here. I don't have People We Meet on Vacation. I did have it as a book of the month book, but then I unhauled it so that I could get a paperback of People We Meet on Vacation, but I just haven't done that yet. I have this book that my boyfriend bought for me at a Japanese market, and I swore that I was gonna read it immediately because I was gonna feel bad, but then I never got to it. So I still need to read it, but like look at how pretty. But yeah, I need to read that soon. This is just a picture of me and my mom when I was a kid, and then my sister's girlfriend bought that for me. It's a cowboy boot. This shelf is like my favorite romance shelf. I've read all of these. I'm not sure like how well these stand as like current all-time favorite romance books because like I haven't read these in like 6 years almost. These 2 are the only books on this shelf that I've read since living here, and I've been here for like 4 years. The rest of these I read when I was still at my parents' house. This one will always be an all-time favorite. I have no doubts in my head. But I think it would be really fun to reread some of these and see if they still stand as favorites. I think I would want to read One True Loves, and after I do, this book I don't think would still hold as a favorite. I think I've always said that this is my like most favorite book of all time, but like my values have changed since reading this, and like my worldviews have changed since reading this, and so I just don't think that this would continue to be a favorite, but it does have a special place in my heart, and it always will. And then I just have this little Lego plant. I love her. And then next to that shelf we have my first Pride and Prejudice shelf. I have 2 shelves dedicated to Pride and Prejudice. I think it's 12 copies of this book. This is not a book, this is a puzzle. I just haven't built the puzzle yet. And these are playing cards, and this is a bookmark. I think this one is one of the prettiest editions that I have, but it's not my favorite. I actually don't know which one is my favorite. Underneath that is my second Pride and Prejudice shelf. I have a couple more editions here, and I have this little like journal that has a Pride and Prejudice quote on it. And then I have this little crocheted bouquet of flowers that my boyfriend bought for me. I have a mirror, and this is one of those like book flower vases. I just don't have any flowers in it. I really enjoy this edition because this is the one and only edition that I have that I've found at a thrift store. I haven't been able to find it in any thrift store ever, and I got this just a few months ago. Like the pages are all yellow and everything. And then next to that we have a V.E. Schwab shelf, which I feel like everybody has a V.E. Schwab shelf. I really only have a shelf dedicated to her because I just feel like the books go really well together, and it just like this is a cute setup in my opinion. But I'm not like a die-hard fan or anything. I've actually only read Addie LaRue and Gallant. I haven't read these 2 yet. I've had them for a really long time though. And then I also have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, which is not here. It's on a different shelf, but I haven't read that either. So yeah, I don't know. You could say that I'm a poser because I have a whole shelf dedicated to her, but I've only read 2 of her books. I really didn't like Gallant, but I really love this cover. So that's why I still have it. That's why it's on display. I have a little ghost friend, and his little feet like jiggle, and I just think that's super cute. I just got him. So he lives here next to Gallant because it's kind of like a ghost story, I guess. And then I also have this little like typewriter with skeleton hands. It's just like a little trinket decoration, but this is also over here because it's kind of like dark academia vibes, which is what I got from Gallant. These are playing cards. This one is not V.E. Schwab themed. This is actually Sarah J. Maas. I think it's Throne of Glass is what it's based off of, but this card deck is the Darker Shades of Magic themed, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. I just got this too, but it's two little ghosts making some s'mores. I just thought it was the cutest thing ever. Next we have 1 out of 2 of my classic shelves. I actually just put this together today because this is what my classics shelf looked like before, and it just was not the vibe. And so I had to move some stuff around so that I could fit these books here. This one I just got yesterday, The Romance of Gilbert Holmes. I don't know anything about this book, but I really liked the picture of this lady here. I read the dedication and was just sold immediately. The writing of this book has been to me wholly a labor of love. I dedicate it in a like spirit to my wife and children. This book was published in the 1900s. Crazy. So yeah, I just had to get it. So hopefully I can read that soon. A couple notable ones that I would like to read sooner rather than later would be Jane Eyre. I've been hearing a lot about Jane Eyre recently, but I've had this book for a couple years and I think everybody knows about this edition. And of course I want to read The Picture of Dorian Gray pretty soon. I've had The Haunting of Hill House for a long time, but I just haven't really had the want to read it. And then the same goes for Emma by Jane Austen. This is not a book, actually. It's like one of those things that like pretends to be a book. But I got it because sometimes I doom scroll a lot for a really long time. And so I will put my phone in here, close it up, put it on the shelf, and then forget about it. And it actually really works. And then this next shelf is, for the most part, Nightmare Before Christmas. I've loved Nightmare Before Christmas for as long as I can remember. I actually have like a whole shelf of not books, but just like little trinkets of Nightmare Before Christmas things that I've just been collecting over the years. Obviously these two are not, but I felt like they fit really well here. I have like the novelization of the movie with illustrations by Tim Burton, which is pretty cool. I have this little duology, Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. They actually just came out with a third one, which I haven't even read the second one yet, so I really need to do that. And this one is one of those books that they've been doing recently, where it's just kind of like a retelling of the story that we do know. So this one is What If Sally is the one who discovered Christmastown, not Jack. And then I also have Zero's Journey. This is the graphic novel of Zero's life, I guess. It's 4 of the volumes in one book, so that's pretty cool. But I really like the orange foiling. I really need to read this. I wanted to read it last year, but just didn't get around to it. Next up is like my young adult fantasy shelf. I have a couple of these. One of the things that I did when I first discovered that I actually like to read is that I would do anything to get a hold of more books, new books, just so that I could have more books and more options to read. And one of those things was being subscribed to book subscription services. I was subscribed to Owl Crate for a while and to Book of the Month for a really long time. I don't pay for those anymore because I don't read at the rate that I was getting books, so it was just getting kind of overwhelming. I used to have like 30 Owl Crate books, but now it's only these couple plus the other 2 that were on my Nightmare Before Christmas shelf. I'm probably never going to read these 2. I just haven't really gotten around to doing something with them. I did sell a lot of them on my Pango bookshop, and like I sent over like the little extra things that came with the books as well. I have read Horrid because this was like a YA horror. I didn't really like it. I didn't really care about it. It was kind of boring. But I love the cover. I love the cover. So I'm gonna keep it just for that. And I have it on display. This is a little monster. that my sister crocheted for me. It's supposed to have arms and horns, but she got bored of trying to finish it, so she didn't. But I love him anyways. His name's Mark. This book I've had for a really long time. It's like a collection of fairy tales. I think every kid ever has had one of these at one point. One of my cousins, like my second cousins I think, gave this to me when I was a kid. And that was like before I started to get into reading, but this is a really special gift that I will never get rid of. This shelf is just kind of random. I put it together just because I thought it looked cute, and that was like 5 years ago, and I just haven't wanted to like switch it up at all. I have the Lord of the Rings series that I've never read, which is a crime because I love the movies. I've also never read Aragon. I've never read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I've never read those. I know that series has like 12 books in it with like prequels and everything, but I just kind of lost interest in wanting to read them, but I just haven't really done anything with them. The only book that I've read on this shelf is A Monster Calls. I really love that book. I have this little pin, which I love very much. It's from Lord of the Rings. And then I just got this little guy yesterday. It's supposed to be a Christmas ornament, but he's like a fall little elf child. And he's just so adorable. He just lives here because he looks like he would belong in a book such as Lord of the Rings. And then at the very bottom, I have my mass market paperback shelf. I just got like a random selection of books over here. I am in the middle of reading one, so that's why there's like that little empty space. But some of the notable ones that I've read that I loved was The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks and A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. Before I Go to Sleep was like one of the first books I ever read, and it was really good. In fact, I would read it in my science class instead of paying attention to class. And then, you know, we have like Dead Poet Society. That's kind of a staple. Otherwise, I haven't really read much of the rest of these. And then over here, this is my nonfiction shelf. These are the only nonfiction books that I own. A good chunk of these are faith-based. I have some poetry, self-help books, I guess. This book I feel like I've had for like 100 years and I've never read it before, which I probably should. But yeah, that is my Billy bookshelf setup. And let's move on to the next one. There's no books on this shelf, but I wanted to show it off anyways. This is my Nightmare Before Christmas shrine that I was talking about. I have some CDs here, and just like some random decorations. These flowers are dried out, but they are real. I love them. Just got a few candles and things. Ooh, I have this little candle holder that my sister made for me. Please focus. Out of air-dried clay, and I love it. It's so cute. And then, of course, I have my little CD player. And yeah, I just love this shelf. I got it from... Where did I get this from? I got this from an antique shop, like 40 minutes from where I live. This is my next shelf that I'll be going over. I got this from Walmart. It is the 12, obviously, cube. I really like that I can have some storage at the bottom. I've just got some like extra craft things in here. There's some random like paper junk in there. And then this is some journaling stationery stuff because it doesn't all fit in here. And then I've just got some like candles and flowers and stuff up here. My brother painted this for me. It's an Edward Scissorhands painting. I love it so much. This is from when he first started getting into painting, so he doesn't really like it anymore because he's gotten so good at what he does. But I told him that I love it. It's so special to me. I think that what he considers to be imperfect about it makes it more perfect, especially for it being an Edward Scissorhands painting. Like, it just makes sense to me. I told him to recreate it if he really doesn't like it, but I don't think he's going to. So the first up is one of many romance TBR shelves. These are all of the romance books that I want to get to ASAP, that I want to read first. So in other words, this is my priority romance shelf. As you can see, there's a lot of popular ones here, but I think the ones that I want to get to the most are Between You and Us. This one is actually on my 2026 TBR, so I should probably try to read that soon. And then I think I want to get to Promise Me Sunshine this year. And then I'll Look For You Everywhere by Cameron Capello. This is like an influencer's book. I don't know if you guys know her, but I like her. I don't follow her, but I get her videos in my feed a lot, and I think she's funny. So I got this last year, and I really wanted to read it, but I just haven't really gotten to it yet. But yeah, I think those are a priority for me. I don't know if you guys will recognize this from anything. This is the little mouse guy from Spirited Away. I love him so much. His little bug eyes, aren't they so cute? Next over is another romance shelf. I got this Jane Austen set as a gift for my birthday. This book is the only book on this shelf that I've actually read other than Pride and Prejudice. I read it last year during the fall, and it was actually really fun. I didn't expect to like it so much. When I was like 12, I swore that I was going to be collecting pop figures. So you'll like see them throughout my shelves, but I haven't been collecting since I was 12, because as I was getting them, I'm like, okay, this is kind of giving me anxiety, like having all of these and not really having a place to put them. Anyways, I also have this little like book opener holder thing. I've never used it, but this was gifted to me by one of my work friends. And then this is just like a little flower thing. It's supposed to be an air freshener, but it's also like 15 years old, so it doesn't smell like anything anymore. But I just thought it was like a cute little decoration. And then this is another romance TBR shelf. I have changed this shelf so many times because I move books over to the other shelves, or I unhaul them and get new books and add more books. This is just an ever-changing shelf for me. I think this is the only book that I've read on this shelf. I didn't like it quite as much as I thought it would, but I read this during a very like pivotal time in my life, and so like I'm always gonna have that association with this book, so I'm probably never gonna get rid of this. I just got these like a month ago. I used my birthday Barnes & Noble card to get them. I've had this book the longest out of all of these, I think, and I just have no interest in reading it, I think. I heard one bad review, and that was apparently enough to turn me off from this book. I bought If He Had Been With Me like before it blew up on TikTok, and then after it blew up on TikTok, I just didn't want to read it anymore because it was popular. Yes, I am one of those people. This is kind of like a YA shelf, I guess, because it's majority YA. We have The Astonishing Color of After. We have Song of Achilles. We have The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. And then we have, this is actually middle grade, but it is a graphic novel duology, Garlic and the Witch, and then we also have Garlic and the Vampire. I think this is actually the second one, so I don't know why it's first, but I'll just leave it. I'm planning on reading these this fall, so I'm very excited for that. I think these three little books here are the only books that I've read on this shelf. I've tried to read A Man Called Uwe like 3 times, and I just haven't been able to do it. I have a little clock here and just like a little candle wax. My brother got this for me for Christmas. Somebody made it out of paper mache, so that's pretty cool. And then next to it we have another romance shelf. I wanted to read holiday romances last year, and I bought a bunch. These are just 3 of them, and I didn't read any of them, so that's fun. The Spanish Love Deception I bought immediately on release day because I'd heard so many praises about it, but then like 2 of my trusted booktube girls gave it bad reviews, and then I didn't want to read it anymore, so that's kind of lame. But also, as I was thinking about it, this book, first of all, is this big. That's 400 pages right there. Like, I think a romance book doesn't need to be 400 pages because that's too many pages for things to go wrong and for me to not like it. So yeah, I I don't want to read this anymore. I've been trying to sell it on my Pango for a little while, but nobody wants to buy it. Everybody has it in their cart or on their shelf, but nobody wants to buy it, so I might just donate it. And then I actually just got this book at a free library yesterday, but it's called My Dream of You. This is an Irish romance, and what really drew me in is this lady who's on the cover. She is so beautiful. So I grabbed it. I was like, it's free, so it won't hurt if I don't end up reading it. And then this is just my TBR jar. Like, if I don't know what to read, I could just pull a paper out, and apparently I'm going to be reading Between You and Us, which that would be nice if this was for real, but you know, I'm not going to do that because that wasn't real. Another romance shelf, if you can believe it. We have Archer's Voice, which I've never read, which I need to because apparently it's so good. This is supposed to be right here. I don't know what I was doing. The only books that I've read on this shelf are Seduction Theory and After. For some reason, I decided that I wanted to read the whole After series, and so I bought the whole After series minus the last book, which is a prequel or events leading up to the first book. But I started reading the second book at the beginning of the year, and I only got like 20 pages in before I decided that I wasn't ready. Because this book really just did a number on me because, okay, these are my tabs for it, but as you can see, I just wasn't very happy. So, it was fun, but also really traumatizing because I was just pissed the whole time. So yeah, I haven't decided to come back to it yet, but if I ever decide to, we're on the second one. This shelf is just kind of like a combination of just whatever. There isn't really like a rhyme or reason to the books that I have on the shelf. I haven't read a single book on this shelf, and I've had a lot of them for a really long time. I've got some Stranger Things merch here. This is like a little wooden moon garland thing, but I just keep it in the bag because I don't really know where to put it. So, and then I have this little like book tin thing. I just have all of my little or metal bookmarks in here. My sister made this one for me. This isn't a bookmark, it's a swatch, but I just use it as a bookmark. But yeah, I just got all of my little bookmarks in here. This shelf is like a mixture of like horror slash thriller. There's like a science fiction book here. I've read Verity before. I read All the Ugly and Wonderful Things like 2 months ago. My Dark Vanessa I read a couple years ago. If I was gonna read one of these books right now, it would probably be Such a Lovely Family. This one's just like a murder mystery thriller. The book is really cute though. And this little clock that doesn't work, but it is so adorable. And then this last square on the shelf is just like my children's bookshelf. This is a picture of me when I was in kindergarten and some Alice in Wonderland pop figures. This is 1 out of 3 editions that I have of Alice in Wonderland. I've got a lot of the iconic ones like Narnia, because of Winn-Dixie, Bridge to Terabithia. I've got The Wizard of Oz here. I have Coraline. I have Winnie the Pooh. I haven't read a lot of these, but I really want to. I think it's a cute idea for adults to read kids' books because there's like so much that you can get from a child's story, but also like if you want to have kids or you have kids, like reading the books first before you let them read it, you can like make sure that they aren't going to be reading something that you don't want them to learn about quite yet or ever. This is the cutest book on my shelf. My cousin wrote this. It just came out this year and I read it a couple months ago. It is really, really adorable. Sorry about the lighting, it's kind of ugly, but moving over to the window, I have this shelf that lives underneath my window. I actually got this shelf from the trash. I live in a small apartment neighborhood and we don't have like our own individual garbage cans. We have to like walk our trash down to the big dumpster. And people actually throw away a lot of furniture. And so some of the shelves in my apartment are actually from the street, from the garbage, and this is one of them. This is from IKEA, I know, based on the build. I wasn't a huge fan of like this bright tan like wood finish on it, but I think it works just for now as like a temporary shelf. I doubt that I'm gonna have this for a long time, but it works for now. These bottom shelves actually had drawers in them, but I didn't want the drawers, so I took the drawers out, removed the hardware, and just cleaned it up, and now I have extra shelf space. This is Anna Karenina that I'm using to give my plant a little bit of height. It'll be a miracle if I ever decide to read that one. So first up we have some Stephen King novels. These are actually my brother's that I'm borrowing, but I just put them on the shelf so that they're not out of the way, because for a while they were just like over here on the floor, but now they're on the shelf. We've got some Nikki Ehrlich books at the top here. Claire Leslie Hall, she's getting pretty popular. I think she has a few books out. I've read, I think Broken Country is the only book on this shelf that I've actually read. And as you can see, I have 2 copies of Blue Sisters. I was gifted this one, but I already had this one, and the person who gave me this one didn't know, so I just have 2. This next shelf doesn't have too much going on. I've got some historical fiction here. It's like mostly historical fiction, but of course I have The Night Circus, which is fantasy, YA fantasy. And I have A Little Life, which I don't know when I'm gonna read that. These 2 books are the only books that I've read off of this shelf. And I have this little coin bank that is based off of The Night Circus. I got this in an Owl Crate box. I have a little circus mouse from Coraline. It came with Bobinski, Mr. Bobinski, but his legs broke in a tragic accident, so he had to go bye-bye. Moving to the opposite side of my room, this is where my classics shelf is. It's just like a little wooden crate thing that I got from Michael's, and I painted it gray, I guess. But this is where all of my classics are. I have a collection of the Bronte sisters novels. I think it's Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, and Agnes Grey. Those 3 are in here. I have a couple editions of Little Women. I have a couple editions of Wuthering Heights. I have another edition of Alice in Wonderland. This clock doesn't work, it never has, but I feel like it fit the vibe, so I have that here. I have a couple editions of Don Quixote, which I've never read, and I have a Charles Dickens Christmas collection, and then these are all just like mass market paperbacks of different classics. I've never heard of like any of these, but I found them in little libraries, so I grabbed them. This book is pretty fun. It is Bible stories, but it's like one for every day of the year, just to like help you like build the habit of staying in the Word. Like, this is not the Bible, but so like today is August 5th, and so this is a story, God's worker who saved food for hungry people. And that's pretty cute, and it comes with a little Bible verse and everything. I found this at a vintage store. It is a German Bible. I believe it's German, and I just thought it was really pretty, so I grabbed that one. They don't make anything like this for Americans. This is a little bookend that I was gifted to by my brother. I do have a second one that points the other way, but it's in the other room, but I just love him. He always gets knocked down though. This shelf in my room doesn't have any books on it really. It's just like my hobby shelf. It's like a catch-all for all my hobbies. So like I have my crochet stuff. Like this is pictures in a shoebox with some photo albums if I ever want to put pictures in them. Got some like candle things. I got puzzles and my Switches here. I got some Legos. This isn't really a hobby, but I do treat it like a hobby sometimes, which is really bad, but but these are just like my Bibles and some like journaling things for Bible study. I do have faith in Jesus. I believe in God. I don't follow a religion. I follow Jesus. There he is. I will say that I don't do it very well, but yeah, I do have faith in Jesus, and this is where all of my stuff is. I do come over here a lot, and so just having it here in a place where I can see it all the time just kind of serves as like a reminder that I should be reading my Bible and in the Word every day. And then this is just where like my current reads live. So like I'm reading Flowers in the Attic right now. I'm only on like page 30. I'm also in the middle of A Girl, a Guy, and a Ghost. I read this. This is one of the first books I ever read that I really liked when I was like 13. And I unhauled it firstly because I didn't think I was ever going to want to read it. But then I came across it the other week, I think. And so I picked it up. I bought it again and I started reading it. I'm only like that far. I've been this far into Half His Age for like, I don't even know how long, 6 months probably. Yeah, I started reading this in February and just haven't really gotten any farther, which is kind of depressing. And then I also started reading this book, Ego is the Enemy. I wanted to learn about how like ego affects people's ego firstly, but how it affects the way that they treat people, the way that they treat themselves, and just how having a good or bad ego can affect you in your life. And I'm only this far. I read the introduction and it was that much. So I haven't been learning about egos, but it is there for when I do want to increase my knowledge. This isn't a book, it's a photo album. But I leave it here because I love to flip through this one. I just put it together like 6 months ago. And then this basket just has some like random stuff. I got some journals in here. My Kindle lives here. And I have my old phone in here, which I use to listen to music. So that is it for all the bookshelves in my room. So now we're gonna go out to my living room where I have 2 more bookshelves to show you. This is my first book of the month shelf. I used to have 3 dedicated to just book of the month books, but last year I did this thing where like each month I would either have to read a book of the month book or unhaul a book of the month book because my collection was huge and I was not reading them at all. And so I think I'm down to like 18 now. I used to have 40. Which is really bad. I read a few of them this year, but I ended up unhauling them because I didn't like them. We've got some romance. We've got some just lit fic, I guess. I got a couple thrillers. I got a science fiction. The only books that I've read off of this shelf are The Kiss Quotient and The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I don't think I'm interested in these 2 anymore. I tried to read this, The Last Love Note by Emma Gray, earlier this year, but I just wasn't really feeling it at the time. But I would definitely go back to it. I think the only books that I'm like truly really interested in right now would be 56 Days and Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I don't know what you guys know about mini brands, but I always dreamt of doing the mini brands books edition. And I got like 4 of them in my whole life, and these are the books that I got out of them. I have Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I've got some Goosebumps. I got a Colleen Hoover book. I got a little Mad Lib, some Charles Dickens. I got Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. The next shelf is another book of the month shelf, and it's basically just thrillers. I've only read Incidents Around the House off of this shelf. If I was going to pick one of these to read, I'd probably be most interested in Everything We Didn't Say. But I've had these for a long time, and I should probably try to get to them soon. I've got some various pumpkin things, like fall things, like this candle here is a fall candle. They have a little owl wax thing. The bottom shelf is my Harry Potter shelf. I started collecting the illustrated editions of the novels, and there's only 5 of them out. They had to rehire an illustrator because the illustrator for these ones, I think he quit. So the next one's coming out this year, I believe, though. So that's pretty exciting. I do have a couple gremlins here, but I have another one of those like book holder opener things where you put your thumb in there, but it's the little Quidditch ball thing. And then I have the little time turner. Hedwig is behind there, and then this is also Hedwig, but he's just up here for some reason. So it's not that I'm excited for this to be over or anything, but I feel like this video is going to be very long and I'm tired of talking. But we are finally on the last shelf. I got this shelf from an antique store, and it is by my front door, which is why there are shoes there. But I really love this shelf. I love the color, and I love how I set it up. On top, we just got some fake flowers. I have a little ladybug succulent thing. This is a Christmas ornament, but I love them. They are so cute together. My sister gifted that to me. And then we also have a little ghost coaster. This entire shelf is like horror and thrillers, so I don't really need to say that for every shelf, but we got some Alice Feeney. We've got my V.E. Schwab book here. We have some Eric LaRocca. We have this really pretty edition of Interview with a Vampire. I tried to read it, and then I realized that there are no chapters. And so I put it back because I wasn't ready for that. That was too intimidating for me. Next up, we have some horror manga. I've read these two, and they were pretty good. I haven't read Tomi yet because it is pretty big. And so I've just been scared. But I heard this one is really good. It is really popular. And then we have this very cool edition of Alice in Wonderland. We have a little black flamed candle from Hocus Pocus. The flame is not actually black. I was very disappointed by that. And then the next shelf, we just have a lot of my paperback horrors and thrillers. I've read The Other People, Tender as the Flesh. I've read We Used to Live Here. I read The Perfect Marriage, Bird Box, The Perfect Son. But otherwise, I haven't read most of these. If I was going to pick one of these to read, it'd probably be a Frida book because they're pretty like fast-paced and easy to read. And then we just have this little skull stack snow globe. Well, glitter globe. And it's got bats in it, which I love. I love the bats. And then my very last shelf, these are just like the taller books that would fit on this shelf. That's why they're down here. But we got some more Alice Feeney. We've got some Grady Hendrix here. We have the graphic novel version of Coraline. This was pretty good, and the other mother is freaky. Like, she is scarier than the other mother from the movie. And then this is just like a little zipper pouch from Beetlejuice, and there's nothing in it. I just have it there. And yeah, that is this shelf. I really love this shelf. I wouldn't change a single thing about it other than how many of these I haven't read yet. So that was all of the books that I own, all of the shelves that I own. That's actually not true. I have more shelves throughout my house, but they just don't have any books on them. But it was really fun to show you around my bookshelves, show you the things that I have on them, and just talk to you guys about what's going on. Hopefully that gives you like a better idea of the books that I've been really wanting to read recently, because we haven't really been talking too much about books. So I'm really crabby about how much the lighting has changed while I've been filming. It hasn't been consistent at all. The sun's been coming in and out. So I apologize if that bothers anybody. And I also apologize for how long this video is. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you stayed for the whole thing. I can't even imagine how long this is gonna be. Comment the book stack emoji if you made it this far. If you did make it this far, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sticking around for this whole thing. Also in the comments, let me know, what type of reader are you? Oh, there it goes again. The lighting just drastically changed. Let me know, like, do you read all of the books that you own to keep your TBR as low as possible, or are you like me, where you just collect and collect and collect and collect, and you just don't read any of the books that you own? How many books do you have? Actually, I'm gonna give you some homework. How many books do you have? and then do the math and figure out how many of them are actually read and then report back. Let me know. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Bye.